Well, hello YouTube, here we are. We have ourselves a little bit of a start to another vlogging day. Well, gonna be a little bit of an odd vlog, but hey, that's the way it is. And yeah, welcome to our vlog. So, here we go. Well, been feeling a little rough over the last couple of days. I don't know if I got too much sun when I pushed it hard to get the trailer painted and stuff and the yard straightened out, or if I just kind of are going through a little bit of a low spot again. I've had to shut down for, well, probably 3 days now. Haven't been able to do what I need to get done, or, you know, do what needs to get done. And I guess it's kind of the way she goes. Well, as you see, got the trailer hooked on behind the truck, and I was planning on doing a dump run here a couple days ago, but it hasn't materialized. I posted some classified ads, or I guess you could say free classified ads for items that were basically, or is, on the way out to the dump. One of them was the old blue commercial bench that sat in my yard for probably 10 years. I'll throw a couple of photos here. I always was, or planned to rebuild it. You know, either out of spruce or cedar, or build a metal, expanded metal framework or seating area. But you know how things go with all that, right? The wood rotted away. It got to the point where I was going to knock it into pieces and throw it in the garbage trailer. But I said to myself, you know, why not give a person a chance, somebody else a chance to use it? So I thought, well, hey, let's do it. So of course I listed her on the free sites, and away she went. Well, I've been trying to get rid of the eavesdropping here, and so far there's been a lot of tire kicking time. I know a couple pieces are 40 feet long, and there's a 30-foot long piece, and looks like a couple of 10-foots in here. But at the same time, eavesdropping is eavesdropping, right? It's easy for me to cut that up into smaller 7-foot lengths and throw it in my garbage trailer and get rid of it, but nobody seems to want it. Well, another thing that went here the other day was all those landscaping ties that I had in the front yard. I'll try to find a photo to do comparison, but you see what the yard looks like now. All those landscaping ties are gone. I'm gonna have to probably come in here with a shovel and throw back some of those bricks so I can have an edge to mow from. But well, it's all good. All those landscaping ties are officially gone. People were more than happy to take them. I probably could have actually sold them for, you know, 40 bucks or something, because those people were that excited. However, you know, the more you ask for something, the longer it stays around, and the longer it stays around, the more chance that you're going to have to move it. And if I move it, then I'm going to want to keep them. And then if I'm going to want to keep them, then they're going to be taking up space somewhere else. And if they're taking up space somewhere else, then it defeats the whole purpose of wanting to move them or get rid of them, right? You know, you just kind of hoarded them up in another corner. Yeah, in the future I'll probably buy something similar to it. Probably the wooden style that won't last nearly as long. But at the same time, well, in the future, we will deal with that then. So this is like the first evening that I felt half normal to venture outside of my office, and here I am in the backyard. I don't know how to explain exactly what happens correctly, but it's a very interesting feeling. Tomorrow, if everything goes the way that I'm hoping it to go, I would like to do the dump run in the morning, and go pick up some material from the hardware store to start the trailer build. I've got a date set for the first outing, and it may not be a glamorous first outing as in finished building by the time I go, but at the same time it'll be functional and usable the way it sits. Even right now it is functional and usable. All I gotta do is throw my mattress in it, my cooler, and basically you're on the road. But if I can get a bed built and some form of a counter so you can do food prep and such, then basically it's good to go. But pretty much, guys, of course, going to go back inside, probably fire up the old YouTubes, see what's going on there for the day, check out a couple other areas, see if anything new is about, and well, we'll see how she goes for another check-in before the day's over. Here we are, little bit of evening update. Well, still starting to feel a little bit better than what I was earlier. Met with a couple of people today. Sold a bicycle that I had for a very long time. One of them bicycles that were part of my private collection, part of my special collection that wasn't necessarily my favorite bike, but at the same time it was purchased by my dad, or traded something that my dad owned for somebody at the time in my life that didn't appreciate it. So of course, you know, when the bicycle itself is too small of a frame for you to ride, what do you do with it, right? It sits around and sits around, and you gotta finally come to terms that the best thing to do is to sell it, to let it go. And yeah, I know it's an old bike now, like old bike now, but it still is plenty of life left in it, plenty of riding left in it. If this new owner does a little bit of upgrades to it, then it'll last many more years. I always wanted to put a front suspension fork in it, which I had in my collection of bicycle parts. I always wanted to upgrade the brakes from the cantilever style, the old style, to the new V-brakes, or I guess the V-brake style, which even nowadays is not new anymore. It needed a couple sets of tires and tubes, but nothing that's not, you know, normal bicycle type of maintenance. And I explained to him lightly kind of the bike and what it needed, and he was no dummy either. He knew, he could tell it was an older bike, and he could tell the style of brakes. And you know, sometimes if you overwhelm people, then they get overwhelmed by all the data you're trying to give them, or all the advice you're trying to give them, and they get baffled and end up walking away, or, you know, offering you like $20 for it because they think it's a piece of garbage. Well, if you tell them just enough they need to know to decide whether they want to purchase it or not, they know that it needs tires. They can tell. You know, he wasn't stupid. He could tell that the brakes were the older generation brakes. So, and he knew that, you know, it was a kind of bike that he would use to ride to work or ride to the store, rather than starting his big 8-cylinder Titan and use it for a season or two, and heck, it's still worth $50 or $60 when he's done with it, so he'll make back best part of his money. Well, the next one to go was the eavesdropping. No, not the new ones, the old ones. The used eavesdropping that I couldn't bring myself to throw away because I knew that there'd be somebody out there that could use it, just a matter of finding the right person. And this guy has an old building on his acreage or farm that has groundwater issues that he wanted to see what he could do to dry it out with. And you know, he picked these eavesdropping up, and well, you know, it's good to go. I think if we as a society tend to recycle or free cycle items more rather than just throwing them away, the world would be a better place. The landfill would be a better place. a cleaner place. You know, the new stuff that we see out there, the good stuff we see out there that really should not be out there. You know, somewhere there's somebody that would love to have the stuff that was thrown out, but we just tend to take it to the dump because, well, rather we don't have the time to deal with it, or some people don't want to have anybody else use their stuff because they can't use it, so then why should anybody else? You know, I've seen people or heard of people when a relative passes away, hauls everything to the dump. Like, I mean everything. Clothes, ornaments, cassette tapes, furniture, everything, pictures. You know, they don't hardly keep anything that belonged to their deceased relative. Yes, okay, fine. You know, maybe their furniture was from the 1960s or whatever, 70s, but don't you realize, or don't they realize, that there actually are shops in Alberta here that would buy that furniture or take donations of that furniture, and then they'd turn around and resell it, but hey, it's going to a better home than the landfill, right? There was an older couple, an older lady, I believe, that passed away here last year. They put 2 big red dumpsters, the big ones, the kind of dumpsters I swear would hold a full-size truck in them, and filled them both up with furniture and sorted stuff from her place, and they all went to the landfill. It's like, really, what a way to honor your loved one's memory, by throwing everything they ever owned or worked for or held valuable or dear in the garbage. Yes, I know, when my dad passed away, I'm semi-guilty of doing the same thing. I cherry-picked out of there the good stuff. You know, some of his treasures, like as he called them, as well as, you know, the flat screen TV and the TV stand and the computer and his 3 bicycles that he had there at the time. And the rest kind of went, but at the same time, the rest wasn't worth more than $20. He had some bleached out, stained up, ruined Tupperware containers, a couple of frying pans that were all scratched to crap, a couple of old fans that actually didn't work properly, and his chair I've recycled to somebody else. His couch I actually am using myself. He didn't really have a bed per se, but he had one of those adjustable electric ones. I ended up selling that to a couple that needed it at a reduced rate. There was a few other things I had that we boxed up and got rid of. Some things that were good we donated. You know, we took the time in as little as the time that we had to do what we had to get done. We took what the time needed to get done to have done it properly. And as much as Dad didn't have a lot of stuff in terms of stuff, what he did have, he had himself. He was quite comfortable the lifestyle he lived with the furniture he had, and he had the means to change it, but he just didn't want to. He was comfortable with what he had. You know, the roof didn't leak. He had a chair to sit in. He had his computer to get a hold of me and emails and stuff. He had his TV for entertainment, and can't forget his cat. We're still coming to terms with the cat. Me and the cat aren't really on speaking terms, so you know, we're having a hard time getting along, but we will work that through, or at least try to anyway, in the memory of my dad. Where some families don't even give that a shot, right? You know, everything's gone. So of course, a little bit of free cycling kind of goes a long way, helping people out who rather don't have the money to buy new or don't want to spend money to buy new, and it helps me out by getting this garbage off my yard, basically, and allows me to have freedom to move and decluttering, and it all works out. I think the only way to move forward in life is to shed the extra bulk that is in your life that is slowing you down. Even if that means getting rid of some treasured objects that you hold dear to your heart, that you've had for years, getting rid of them because you just plain do not use them. But I'm going to go in, guys, see what's what, and we'll probably see y'all when it's dark. Well, hello YouTube, here we are, come to the end of another day. a little bit of an off day, but far better day than, well, what the days were in the upcoming past days. Hopefully we can continue to have good days and continue with this. I got me a dump run to do and a few things like that. Well, the bicycle sold today, which was nice. The eavesdropping went today, which was nice. I couldn't bring myself to throw it away, however, I couldn't store it, obviously. And why not let somebody use it versus just crumpling it up and throwing it in the metal pile. But pretty much, guys, of course, like I said, tomorrow, got some stuff I'm wanting to do. Dump run, run to the lumber store, run to the Princess Auto, and around we go. And as always, thanks for watching Maxwell's Vlogs. Comment, subscribe, and enjoy.